here. And
Thank
so
you,
Nitin Bhai, is all yours.
Thank you, Sunil Bhai. Thank you, Madan ji.
Thank you.
Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Over to you, Nitin ji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Pallavi ji, and thank you, Madan Bhai, for a wonderful session. Good morning, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you are enjoying this ride. Today we are going to talk about a very special shloka. Typically the way we go is we take one verse a day, and that verse can span multiple days and even week at time, because we really want to get to the skin of that shloka. And right now we're in the journey where we are doing a recap. So technically we are on chapter 4. However, we have been talking about faith, and the discussion is not complete until we go through this shloka, and I'll connect all the dots that we have been talking about. Like I said, if you are new to these sessions, a very warm welcome. It's never too late to join these sessions, because we go back and forth so that the foundational elements or the key elements are covered, and we all can march forward, confidently and with assurance, without having to worry about having missed, the sessions in the past or some of the key concepts. And then you always have a channel of back and forth. We can always discuss it during the sessions, or you can put it in feedback tracker. I'm more than happy to have offline calls with you as well. So with that said, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen, and we will get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru, like we always do. So let me share my screen. Share sound as well. Stop share. Okay. Hope you're able to see the screen.
Yes.
We'll get started. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Okay, Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening once again to all of you. The shloka that you're going to see on your screen right now, it's an executive statement of Bhagavad Gita. So we will march forward and come back again like we always do. So I'm going to take a quick detour today and talk about a shloka which is basically sums up the entire gist of Bhagavad Gita, so to say. Okay, that is a shloka we are going to go through today. Not in too much of detail, but as much as it's relevant to our current discussion. So let me share my screen and we'll get started. It is from chapter 18, verse 66. And that is what we are going to talk a little bit about. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma shuchaha. Okay, do we have any volunteers? Want to take that?
Yes, we have a couple of hands today. Ramesh ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Ramesh ji.
Radhe Radhe. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
Very nice. Thank you, Ramesh ji. Radhe Radhe.
Sam ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma shuchaha.
Very nice. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shuchaha.
Very nice. Thank you, Sandhya. Okay, quite a few hands. So maybe we
Yes.
can. All right.
Rahul ji, Radhe Radhe. please go ahead.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Sarva dharman paritajya mamekam sharanam braj aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Radhe Radhe.
Nice, Rahul. Jai Mata Di.
Dinesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe.
Shyam ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे.
Jai.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. राधे राधे.
Nice. I would recommend everybody to keep reciting it as many times as you want, because very, very important shloka, and reciting Bhagavad Gita is anyway auspicious. So please do that. And those of you, I think we can cover all the hands real quick. So let's continue.
Sunita ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Sunita ji.
Preeti ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Ji.
Okay. Radhe Radhe everyone. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchah.
Very
Radhe Radhe.
nice, Sunita ji. The big smile, I think it is one of your favorite shlokas.
Yes.
Okay, very nice.
Uday ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe ji.
राधे राधे. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य माम् एकं शरणं व्रज त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. राधे राधे.
Thank you, Uday ji. Radhe Radhe.
Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः.
Wonderful, very nice. So we can take the remaining hands, really. 4 or 5. Let's quickly
Yeah,
do
Surya Prakash ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
SSPG. Radhe Radhe. Good to see you.
Yesterday I came but late, sir.
Okay, no worries. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Happy Sri Ramanavami to all Indian
Happy Ram Navami to all of
Happy
you.
Shri
devotees
Ram.
and of course other countries. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam charanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchah.
Wonderful, very nice. Thank you.
Keshav ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Keshav ji, last.
राधे. सर्व धर्मान परित्यज्य माम एकम शरणम व्रज अहम त्वाम सर्व पापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe, very nice. Thank you. Last 3 hands, real quick.
Ragi ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Ragi ji.
Okay, I don't see her. I don't know.
Riya ji.
Riya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchah.
Very nice.
Radhe
Thank you. Riya ji, last 2 hands.
Sumanta ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे. सर्वधर्मन् परित्यज्य माम् एकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वं सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि शुचः. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe. All right. Last but not the least, Pallavi ji.
Yes. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma suchah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pallavi ji. So let's get started. See, this is a very, very profound shloka. We'll not go very deep into it, but I'll give you a gist of it today and focus on the stuff that we are going to talk about today. Okay, that is a part or a subset of the shloka itself. In this one, Lord Krishna is saying, abandon all varieties of dharmas and simply surrender unto me alone. Okay, it's a very, very deep statement. I shall liberate you from unskillful reactions. Do not fear. Okay. Now, whole Bhagavad Gita, right? As we will traverse through the entire Bhagavad Gita, we would see Lord Krishna starting from who are you are a soul, right? He starts with first understand yourself, then he gets into the duty aspect of it, Varnashram Dharam, right? Based on the bodily platform, he says you are a Kshatriya, you need to fight war. And for some people, the Bhagavad Gita ends there only. Okay, fight war. That's the message. It goes much beyond. Then he introduces the science of work, in what consciousness you need to perform your duty. Then he introduces the Buddhi Yoga. How do you use the power of your intellect to cater to basically uplift your, or decimate your lower nature and align to the higher nature. Then he goes on to introduce Gyan Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga aspect of it, and all the different paths, Karam Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. And finally, in 18th chapter, he comes around and says, forget all the dharmas. Okay, it's like I've told you everything, but by the way, you need to forget everything, and all you need to do is, sorry about that, simply surrender unto me and me alone. And I'll liberate you from unskillful reactions. Do not fear. Okay, that is the ultimate deal. So all the gymnastics, spiritual gymnastics or intellectual gymnastics or the practice gymnastics that we are doing eventually should lead us to this state of total surrender. Okay, this is the executive statement, so to say, of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, now what we are going to talk about today is I've given you a very quick thing. Okay, this requires a discussion on its own, maybe for a week, but you've gotten the gist, and we'll build on that and focus on what we really want to discuss today. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today. If we were to pick one key instruction from Bhagavad Gita, what would it be and why? Okay, so let's get started then. Busy? We all are busy. Everybody's busy, right? So let's start with that only. If we are busy, which we all are likely to be, let's see some of the scenarios. What happens if we are busy? And our work could keep us busy. Of course, these char log, 4 people, always keep us busy. Could be friends, relatives, all the relations and stuff like that, right? These are the people who always keep us busy and keep us on our toes as well, right? That allodoxophobia that we have for these 4 people, sabse bada rog kya kahenge 4 log. So these 4 people will be common denominator to keep us busy always in every life. And then of course, there's a time constraint as well, right? Somebody is about to depart from this world. Now, if you're busy like this, or the time is limited, or you just have too many things going on in your life, with a lot of potlucks, a lot of family functions, a lot of brothers, niece, nephews, daughters' marriage to attend, right? All those things can keep us really busy. In that case, and you always had an aspiration to read Bhagavad Gita, right? So somehow you can carve out maybe a fortnight or maybe a month or something like that. If you can prioritize that, then what you need to do is go with chapter 18, Moksha Sannyas Yoga. Okay. And that is typically the chapter which is read out to people who are in their last stages. People just put it on them and start putting words in their ears. Why do they do that? Because it talks about yoga to the perfection of renunciation and surrender. So this is not something that helps truly. But if we were always having an aspiration, wanted to do that, typically people go with this chapter. Okay, so this would it say if you have, let's say, 15 a fortnight or maybe a month, and you are really constrained, at least go through this once in our lifetime with proper understanding. That will be good. Chapter 2 anyway is a summary of entire Bhagavad Gita, but 18th chapter talks about the real thing. But if you think we have the intellectual capacity to get the key nugget without really having to go through the theory leading up to this stage, this is the chapter to go through. Now this is for busy people. Okay, now the stage basically let's thicken the plot. Super busy. They're busy, and then there are people they're super busy, right? And as you see, super busy can happen in our work and other things that can keep us super busy, right? Too many agendas in life, work keeps us busy. And these char log will always be there, no matter what other things you are doing, right? So these people will keep on repeating. Now, if you're super busy and you have to pick up something, pick up this shloka within 18th chapter. Forget about 18th chapter. Just pick up this shloka. Okay, this is the gist of entire Bhagavad Gita that you need to do. What do you need to do? Surrender. Surrender, and what God promises is a huge mercy. What he says is, see, even if we have committed 0.1 sin, not even 1.1 sin in one lifetime, we have had infinite lifetimes, right? Because we have existed ever since God has existed. And going by that multiplication into infinite, we have already completed infinite sins. And if we were to exhaust all those sins purely statistically by doing Karam Yoga, it's like trying to exhaust an ocean drop by drop. But in the process, we keep on adding more drops because we are not doing perfect Karam Yoga as yet. Why we are not able to do perfect Karam Yoga as yet? Because we are attached to the outcome. We are doing it for our sense gratification or for our own pleasure. And we want to enjoy the fruit of our work and our action as well. And when we do that, we are contributing more drops to our karma. However, this is a huge mercy of Krishna, God, where he says, when you perfect your surrender, I am going to burn off all the stockpile of karmas for you. Okay, such a huge mercy. If we were to do it on our own, just imagine how many lifetimes would it take. That too, assuming we would do it perfect Karam Yoga in every action, in every dealing, in every thought, in every manifestation of our speech, perfect Karam Yoga, then also it will take a lot of time. So God also understands that. What he says, you perfect your surrender. And what I'll do at that point is I'll take your entire stockpile and burn it off for you. Okay. Big mercy. Huge deal. Okay. So now if you're super busy, which people can be very, very busy, then at least pick up this shloka. However, that is a different thing because this shloka, there's a lot of theory leading up to this state. So a lot of spiritual principles have to align. We need to carry that conviction through Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan, where we hear it, we contemplate upon it, and let it sink into our intellect, where our intellect is convinced, yes, this is the thing to do. But if you think you can skip that step and directly get into that stage, this is a shloka to go, okay, for super busy people. The story doesn't end there, right? There are people who are busy, then super busy, and super duper busy. Okay, super duper busy would be like this, right? This is not Durga Ma. It's like we do so many things. We are having too many threads, too many agendas in life. Okay, how did they come about? We don't know, but they are. Okay, so that keeps us super duper busy. In that case, what do we do? Okay, now we've got 18th chapter. We've got verse 18.66. What do we do? And then, of course, they do so many things. And then what happens? These 4 people have repeated again, okay? They will anyway keep you busy. Then what happens? So you start with 18th chapter, not an option because you are super duper busy. And then the next step, the shloka, okay? That is also not possible because, it will again take your mind space. And what one instruction that you want to religiously follow every day? What would that be? And that would be, okay, sarva papebhyo goes away. Mokshishyami ma shucha. Do not, mokshishyami also you can take. Ma shucha is the only thing. Ma shucha means do not fear. Now, fear is something which basically makes the whole thing complicated for us. Leading up to that stage, of course, requires surrender, but do not fear or lament in life. If there's one instruction we want to really practice hard in our life, whatever it takes, intellectual conviction, contemplation, whatever it takes, it should be ma shucha. Mokshishyami also is not, that is basically not needed, but ma shucha is do not fear. That is the key thing. But Lord Krishna is saying that we need to practice on a day-to-day basis. When we become insecure, we become anxious, start speculating something which may or may not happen in future, start lamenting about our current situation, That's not needed. So whatever it takes to lead ourselves up to that stage, we need to continue to do that, because that is the final target or the aspirational or the ultimate state we need to get into. Now, it is not going to happen automatically, right? Fear can come in any form. I mean, we can get scared even in our dreams. And there's a bit of a science involved it, right? How do we get to that stage? Let's talk a little bit about it, because these concepts are all interlinked. So when you start thinking about it or understanding this knowledge or hearing all the knowledge that we get, from scriptures through Swamiji Maharajji, you will understand there's a beautiful pattern that starts emerging, right? There are all interlinked concepts, even though they may seem like some buzzwords to begin with, but you will see they are all interconnected. So let's get into that a little bit. So this is the key thing, do not fear. Now, if you go to chapter 16, verse 1, here also, if you look at it, God is talking about Devik gunas. What are the key gunas you need to inculcate? So basically this one shloka, 16.1 to 3 is the entire course on moral science. So for people who think that Bhagavad Gita is all moral science, this 1 to 3 covers the entire moral science and much beyond. So let's see what it says. It says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhiri Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Danam Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam. Sorry about that. So basically the point here is the first one that you look at it, Abhayam. Here also is saying that fearlessness, is calling that quality out. That these are saintly virtues, and those endowed with the divine nature, the fearlessness is really what a very important or a critical virtue to have. Yeah, our fears are the ones which bog us down, amongst other things as well. Of course, purity of mind, steadfastness in spiritual knowledge, charity, control of the senses. So all other things are there. I specifically called out fearlessness because this is called as one of the key Devic virtues, even in 16.1 as well. Okay, fearlessness, having that mindset, or that. Let's move on. So before we get into that, see, this busy concept, the reason I brought in was that this, more often than not, it becomes an excuse in our life that we are super busy. Okay, there is a saying in English which says you always have time for things you always want to do. Okay, so even President Obama would find out time to walk on a treadmill. Who can be more busy than that? Mr. Modi, he takes out time for meditation and his yoga. Who can be more busy? So it's just about prioritization. They say, when we say we do not have time, replace it with it is not my priority, and see how it sounds. Okay, it is essentially, it is not my priority. It is not, I don't have time. And by the way, scripturally speaking, I was reading, which was kind of an interesting thing and scary as well. There says that people who usually complain about they don't have time, then there's a species that God could potentially put you into, which is trees, where you have a lot of time, nothing to do, just keep standing. Or some of the trees, they go on for 100, 200, 500 years also. So the time complaint, I think it's an excuse we need to get off, because there are very interesting species which have just a lot of time with nothing to do, of course, right? So we really need to think about prioritizing stuff rather than keeping this excuse of time, family, and this duty and obligation and all that stuff, because all those things will continue regardless, lifetime after lifetime. But time, when it passes by, it's an opportunity lost, lifetime after lifetime. So let's move on. Now we spoke about this concept, right? With knowledge comes faith, right? Yes, we had spoken about this concept. The more knowledge you gain about a subject, the more faith you develop about it, right? It's the ignorance which can cause that uncertainty or lack of faith around something. And then the faith would lead to love. You have faith on something, you start loving that entity as well, right? This is how typically it goes. Let's build on it further and see what happens. Now with love, what happens is surrender automatically happens. And the more you love, the more surrender will happen automatically, as you see, right? And what happens further? When you have more surrender, less fear you would have. That is also a natural consequence of it. So you see how these are all interrelated concepts. When you are surrendered to somebody, you will not have fear. There was a naval officer who was on a taking his newly wed wife on a ship, and there was a big storm that started, tempest as they say that, which engulfed the ship, and people were shouting, screaming, getting anxious and all that stuff, and this guy was very calm, completely relaxed. Okay. um, because he was probably saying that, okay, I leave it to God's hands, and whatever his wish, he was completely at peace with it. So his wife said, how could you be at peace when things are so precarious? We could, our ship could sink, we could die and stuff like that. So what he does, this officer, he had a sword. He pulls out a sword and puts the sword on her neck. Okay, when he puts it on her neck, then and then he inquires or asks her that, are you scared? She said, of course not. He said, why are you not scared? I'm having a sword right, touching your neck. She said, because you are my well-wisher, I'm not scared. So he said the same thing. Basically, I consider God as the well-wisher, so I'm not scared about it, right? Whatever he desires in this kind of a situation. The point is, it's a pretty advanced stage where you just surrender it to God, and you are not scared. It's like, whatever he desires, it's for my welfare only. If it is meant to happen anyway, I can't do that. So that is the state, basically, of state of surrender, where you simply accept, because by panicking also you can't do much about it, right? So it's basically, this is an analogy or a story just to illustrate the point, the state of mind of a person who is surrendered to the will of God. So basically, when we are surrendered, the fear would also go away. That is how it goes. We have seen the example of Prahlad as well. He was completely surrendered, and he was not fearful, even though he was put in a room with all the snakes, or he was pushed down the hill, or he was an elephant was made to step on him. He was just fearless because he was completely surrendered. So with surrender automatically comes the faith. Okay. Now the important thing here to understand is, time, all these concepts that we talk about, right? Let's look at it. Okay, no, let's now I'm going to introduce another concept here before we get it there. So you see here, soup here, noodles. I hope you're seeing the steam coming out of it as well. If not, then do focus, you'll see that. So when you have soup, right, there is a noodle principle that I'm going to introduce today. What happens is, noodle principle is that when you take one, the rest will follow automatically. Okay, that is the beauty of Devi Gunas. You don't have to work one at a time. You pick one, others have to follow. Okay, that is how it goes. You pick up honesty, you pick up speaking truth, you pick up letting go, you pick up working on anger, you pick up gaining proper knowledge and contemplating. Other Devi Gunas will follow you. It's not like you have to water the root one at a time. Okay, but what is the fork here? I'll tell you the fork, the key thing that can act as a fork here, right? Of course, you can try and pick one noodle, right? But typically you get a bunch together. You go for one and you'll get multiple. So, okay, any questions so far before I go to the next slide? Because I'm going to introduce a very important concept in the next one now. Something which acts as a fork, enables picking up all the other virtues. Yes, Sam, you had a question? I think you'll
Nitinji, did you just say that if we work upon one Daivik gun, all the other Daivik guns also will follow? That means we don't have to work upon other.
They have to follow. If you just pick one guna, okay, the others have to follow. That is how it goes. They will follow.
Being modest, for example, simple things like being modest, then also all other.
Being humility. A humble person, can a humble person be dishonest, angry? Of course, those intensity of those things will also start diminishing. That is the beauty of associating to a higher energy. The lower energies, when you start aiming for the higher, lower starts falling all the way by itself. Okay, it's a natural consequence of it. You pick up one virtue. Benjamin Franklin, he used to pick up 7 virtues, practice it for a week, and then again next and again. I mean, that could be one of the ways. But if you, from a spiritual standpoint, you pick up one good quality and see how others start aligning around it. And now I'm going to give you a silver bullet or a Ramban around it as well. Okay, where you simply do that and rest, everything will start falling. It's like popping in a pill. When you pop in a pill, let's say you're having a headache or a fever, do you think now the pill has, mixed with my digestive system and with the bile juice, and now it will go heart, mix with the bloodstream and now getting directed to the particular part, and now the analgesic or the antipyretic has kicked in? You don't think about that. You just pop in a pill, everything gets done automatically. So I'll tell you about that pill as well. Okay. Any other questions, Preeti ji? You wanted to ask something as well?
Preeti ji, please go ahead. Preeti ji, please go ahead.
So I have a quick 2-minute story about this. So there was a thief who was very, very bad. And he used to beat up his wife and got angry and whatnot. And one day maybe Swamiji was there and he didn't want it to listen, but he just listened. He said, just pick one virtue. So he was supposed to pick speaking the truth. So he went to the bar to drink after stealing things, and he said, if I drink, then I might lie, so I better not drink. So he didn't drink. He went home and he was about to get angry with his wife and beat her. And he said, oh, if I beat her, I may say things and I might lie, so I better not beat her. And then he said, I'm never going to stop stealing. He went to steal at the king's palace, and the king was in disguise. So he asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to steal at king's palace. And he saw there were 3 diamonds. The king said, can I join you? And the thief said, sure. So there were 3 diamonds. So he had to share equally. So he left 1 diamond there. And he gave 1 to the king because he thought he was a thief, and then he took 1 and went home. So the king's assistant took the 3rd diamond and told the king the treasure has been stolen. Now king knew what was going on, so he called the thief and said, and when he was called up to the darbar, he said, did you steal from the treasure? He said, yes, I did, because he promised to not speak the truth. I mean, not speak the lie. I said, how many diamonds did you steal? He said, 2. I had a friend, I gave him 1 and I kept 1. And so the king, asked his assistant to beat up his vice president, or whatever you call him, the assistant pradhan. And he finally gave that 3rd diamond back. And so the king was very impressed with the thief. So he said, if you stop stealing, I'll make you the pradhan, my pradhan, because I'm very impressed with your honesty. So that one virtue of just speaking the truth, made him a vice president from a thief, So
That's a very interesting story.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That is the whole beauty of picking up a Devic virtue. Like they say, one good thing will lead us to another, and to another, and to another. It's like a ladder you start climbing. And one bad thing will lead to another, and to another, and to another. So end of the day, life is like playing a game of snakes and ladder only. Okay. So are you taking a ladder or are you getting bitten by a snake? The choice is always right. It's a game of ladder that we are playing. So when we associate with Devi Gunas, we are basically taking a ladder. But when we start associating with wrong company, wrong things, then it is like getting bitten by a snake. Okay. And we keep on playing that snake and ladder and so that is why spirituality tells us ladders and ladders. Okay. That is the key thing. Thank you so much, Preeti ji, for that story. Now let's move on. So hopefully noodle principle makes sense now. Next time you have noodles, you'll have something to contemplate about. Okay. Now, so we spoke about these words, right? Knowledge. Then we spoke about faith. Then we spoke about love. Then we spoke about surrender. Then we spoke about fearlessness. And all these beautiful concepts in spirituality, fearlessness we introduced, right? It is a very important concept. See, when you speak truth, it gives you fearlessness because you have nothing to hide at that point, right? Fearlessness is a great quality to have if we can develop that over time. So even when we don't speak a truth while gossiping and just for the sake of it, that takes away a part of your thing, right? So even in journal talk, one should refrain from doing that. It's a great quality to have because then your Devic gunas will keep on. You are building a stockpile of Devic gunas and you are, what do you call that, amplifying those. But every time you speak lie or do something, then that deposit is, taken away. So that balance starts diminishing, or you can keep building on that balance. However, see, all these things, good words that I spoke about so far, if I tell you, you do one thing and all of these will follow, right? Too good to be true. But yeah, it is too good to be true. So let's see what is that. It is with you do bhakti, it is that secret pill, all of these things will follow. That is the beauty of devotion. Why? Because bhakti, if you go to the beginning of Bhagavatam, it is said it is the mother of Gyan and Vairagya. Okay, so Gyan will automatically get revealed when you do bhakti. And when you get Gyan, you get faith. When you get faith, you get love. You get love, you get surrender. You surrender, you get fearlessness. So it's all interrelated. Right? So Gyan, the stepping stone of all these virtues that we're talking about, the foundation of that is the son of bhakti. And when you do bhakti, Gyan will come automatically, right? Kabir Das ji, yeah, he did not study. He had all the Gyan. Guru Nanak Dev ji, he didn't study. They have all the Gyan. Tukaram, Narsi Mehta, they had all the Gyan. They may not be talking in deep scriptures because they didn't have to. See, when the Guru or a saint comes, they give a message in accordance with the time, place, situation, and the audience. They may be having a message of doctorate as per their own understanding. But if the audience needs, a lower level message just for them to proceed spiritually, they will just disseminate that. They don't have to talk scriptural references and stuff like that unless it is needed. But the point is they already have that knowledge. How did they get that knowledge? Through bhakti. They just download, they have the download, they have that profound understanding. Listen to some of the Kabir Das ji Doha, the kind of profound understanding that he had about the Tattva Gyan is amazing, mind-blowing what he's talking about stuff. He didn't study. Right? When Kashi scholars, they asked him that why don't people come to us when we are the Shad Darshan Shastris? He said, Tum kaho आंखों की देखी मैं कहूँ, तुम कहो किताब की लेखी मैं कहूँ निज आंखों देखी. That what you say is simply a scholarly exercise that you are doing. What I say is something that I have realized and experienced through my own eyes. So that makes the whole difference. So that is the whole thing. And also same thing happens when different saints come from time to time. They tell you a message. So the problem happens, then it initiates a sampradaya. And then the sampradaya gets hung up on that. Okay, this is the absolute truth and I don't want to go beyond that, which is fine as long as it's helping in progressing. But then God is also smart, right? When you have graduated from that, he will throw another message around your way. But because of our stubbornness, if we refuse to take that message, then we get hung up there only, right? That is why I keep on saying that based on our trajectory, God keeps on knocking on our door for the next message. And people who latch on to that, they keep on progressing. People don't, who they get stagnated, and it may even lead to fanaticism that, okay, this is the only truth. And that's all. That is why Maharajji, he did not pick up any sampradaya, because when you pick up a sampradaya or have a guru, then you get stereotyped and boxed. Okay, you belong to this. So that is probably the message that, you get boxed into. And he reconciled all the philosophies, right? So all the exclusivities that Sampradaya is brought in, he made it inclusive, and we are going to talk a little bit about it tomorrow because it is Ram Navami, and I'm going to talk about the avatars of God. Is there really a difference between Ram and Krishna avatar, or for that matter, other avatars of God? Right? And some people think one is higher, other is lower. Some think they are different. Some think they are ordinary human beings, okay, under Maya. They were not God. They were not God. They were maybe saints or some special people. So we'll tackle all these questions tomorrow, talk about God's avatar, the purpose of God's avatar, and whether there is really a difference between Ram avatar and Krishna avatar. So for today's discussion standpoint, the key thing I was talking about, that we introduce this concept of fearlessness, is something we really need to practice. whatever takes us to fearlessness. If our mind is cooking up stories, making us anxious, cooking up some fears, insecurities, we need to figure out a game plan to move away from it. And that fearlessness will come from surrender. Surrender will come from love. Love will come from faith. Faith will come from knowledge. And all of these things will come from bhakti. As simple as that. When you do immerse yourself in devotional sentiments towards God, whether it's Rup Dhyan, Kirtan, all of the things will start falling in place all by itself. Okay, so that's all. With that, I'll open it up for any questions that you may have, and then I'm going to spin the wheel because we have next set of candidates that we can identify, that series that we have initiated where we'd love to hear from you, and the participants that we had already identified from yesterday, so we can give them an opportunity to talk. Any questions in the meantime? We can probably take a few questions.
Samji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Nitinji, tomorrow we have Swamiji's Angels meet at this time.
No, sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. We don't have it tomorrow. It's day after for us.
No.
So is that a question? Is that a question or a confirmation?
Yeah. Question confirmation. No question.
It is on Friday evening for us, I believe. Right? I think Saturday morning for you. You'll get a confirmation. But we can talk about the topic for now. That can be confirmed later as well. So because of that, I think we are going to have our session 1 hour early. Good, you brought it up, Sam. On Friday, which is Saturday morning, 1 hour early, we will do the session because we have a quiz and a recap. So it will be 8 p.m. CST and it will be 7:30 a.m. IST on Saturday for you. That session will be 1 hour early. So glad you brought up that point so that we can wrap it up before the Angels meeting with Swamiji.
6:30 a.m. IST.
6:30 a.m. Okay, it will be 6:30.
Yeah.
Are you sure 6:30?
Yeah,
Yes.
right now, right now we have the class.
6:30 a.m. IST, yeah. And it will be at 8 p.m. CST, just one session for that day.
Yeah, Saturday morning, Friday evening.
Yeah. Any other questions on the topic that we have discussed today? So Ma Shucha is the keyword. Okay, that we need to focus on and keep on practicing it throughout our life. Let's identify our triggers, what makes us insecure, what brings in fear, and see how we can systematically get away from it by having more acceptance around it. All right, any questions?
I don't see any hand raised, Nitinji. Meanwhile, can I make a quick announcement?
Yeah, sure, please. Yeah. Was it too profound a topic? Okay, go ahead, please, Pallaviji.
I see Samji's hand raised.
Yes, Samji.
Yeah, I'll just quickly take him and then I'll make announcements.
Sure.
Please go ahead, Samji.
I was suggesting that maybe this the spinning of the wheel, maybe it can be done on every Friday evening, didn't we? Something like that, like the presentations and all those things. Maybe every Friday you can set up a day once in a week.
Yeah, we'll think about that. The idea is basically to spend some time to know the participants. We'll see how that goes. If we have to optimize it and do Fridays, that's fine too. We'll check it out. We'll do the course correction and improvisation.
And maybe Friday you can spin the wheel, and for the next Friday, whatever, maybe instead of 3 persons, maybe 5 persons, they can introduce themselves once a week on Friday itself, a presentation.
Sure, we can consider that too.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you for your suggestion, Samji. I'll go ahead and quickly make announcement. The festivities of Chaitra Navratri and Ram Navami is going on. So tomorrow is the 9th day over here. But from March 22nd to Sunday, April 2nd, immerse yourself in the deep devotional sentiments and do attend online radhakrishnatemple.net/Ram celebrations. I'm going to post the link in the chat so that you can see. And there's a lot of celebrations going on. Chaitra Navratri and Durga, Ma Durga, worshipping of Ma Durga. And important announcement is about the family camp. Family Camp 2023 is going to start for 7 days. It will be for 7 days with Swamiji And I'm going to share the link to register in the chat window. Please look at it. There will be divine lectures, soulful kirtans, and feed your divine soul with divine knowledge. So these are the main announcements. Please
put the feedback tracker as well, if not.
Yes, I posted the feedback tracker link in the chat window as well.
Yeah, family camp, I can talk a little bit about it. It's a great opportunity to be with Swamiji for about a week. And like I said, retreats are the next best thing to a family camp. But if you can make it to family camp, nothing like it. You don't get an opportunity so easily. For other retreats outside of JK Yog, you hardly get to meet the Swamijis for a little bit duration of time. But our Swamiji, he'll start with 6, go all the way up to 11 p.m. in the night. And then you can have a FaceTime with him, asking questions. It's an experience to be savored. Words can't do justice to what you feel when you are in these camps or these retreats. So strongly encourage you to sign up for it if you're in or around Dallas, or if you can make it to Dallas, around that time. So, and your food accommodation will be taken care of. You can just enjoy that nectar for 1 week. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Please go ahead, Sandhya ji.
Actually, add-on announcement first. So we on Saturday morning, we'll have online Ram Navami celebrations. As part of that, and I think it's perfect time for both people in India as well as US. So for US, it is 10:30. I mean, for CST, it is 10:30 a.m. CST. And for India, it will be 9 p.m. So, and you can sing devotional bhajan, 1 to 2 minute long. You can enact any Leela of Sri Ram. You can deliver dialogues of Ramayan, present facts of any of the characters of Ramayan. And also there'll be an exciting Kahoot. So all these opportunities will be there. So please consider participating in this online Ram Navami celebrations.
Right, brush up your Ramayana knowledge, because I think probably I'll be conducting the Kahoot. So we're going to make it fun and engaging. So brush up your Ramayana knowledge and we will ask you questions. It will make it pretty interactive, engaging for you guys. So check it out. Do join with your friends and family and participate enthusiastically. And I look forward to meeting, if not.
Yeah, Nitinji, I remember attending last year with my younger one. And there were some very, very interesting questions. I remember those. And I was like, okay, I was thinking I know it. And then I am like, okay, I need to really brush up.
Now you put pressure on me to create interesting questions. So I think I'll get some help from someone. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting session and the quiz as well. So please join us for that. Yes.
And if I can ask, I mean, it's like more, I just wanted to ask this question that, is there any difference between bhakti, devotion, or love for God?
Bhakti, devotion, and love for God. So devotion is an English word for bhakti, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, bhakti, devotion, one category, love for God. Like this, is there any difference between the two?
Bhakti basically means uniting with God. Vibhakti, bhaj, or serve God. Bhakti, the root of bhakti is bhaj in Sanskrit, and bhaj means to serve. So bhakti itself means serving God, and then serving, whom do you serve, whom we love. So of course, I mean, it should lead to love, the ambition to serve, and that would happen when you love. You can't serve somebody when you don't love it, right? So it cannot be transactional at that point. So yeah, they are kind of, bhakti should lead to love and a desire to serve, because bhaj word itself means to serve. So that means, how do you get the opportunity to serve God? Can you serve a light? Can you serve something which is impersonal? No, right? So you can serve something when you only you know how to build a connect with it. And for that, you have to build a personal relationship with God, not doing his Aishwarya Chintan, that he is so big and so and I am so small. We take away that aspect of it and start building a personal connect, that he's mine and I can build a relationship with him. and then see how we can start serving him in our mind, and then eventually, see where it leads us to. Yes, now I see a few more hands.
Yeah, thank you, Nitinji. Vijayji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Vijayji.
Radhe Radhe. Nitinji, so you said there are no questions today. So primarily, the main thing today was that we need to be fearless. And you already gave the path that, starting with knowledge, you have knowledge and then you have more faith. So I think the road was also clarified. So I think that's the reason people don't have questions. So I only want to add here that, okay, everybody has fears. Definitely, people have fear of losing a job and many different types of fears. So what I would say is this path that you just outlined, it will happen, slowly. It will not happen overnight. So what we need to have is we need to have patience. If we don't have enough knowledge, then we need to do enough of Shravan so that our ignorance is removed and we slowly get more faith. And once we have faith, as you said, love will increase and then we'll have the surrender. And once we surrender, I think that is the final thing, right? So once we surrender, then we are anyway fearless. So if you expect that it will happen overnight, it will not. So it's a gradual path, and each one of us, depending on our progress on this spiritual path, so each one will have a different timeline. So I just wanted to summarize that.
Very true, very true. I think you summed it up nicely. And it is a journey. It's a journey. It's not a unit step function where we wake up and we'll be saint tomorrow. No, it's a journey, and we just have to focus on the next immediate step that we can take to progress further, rather than thinking of the entire journey. It will happen in due course of time, and it happens fairly quickly, right? Law of compounding growth. Maybe we can talk about that. But yes, you summed it up really well. Okay, I can see a few more hands.
Yeah.
So by the way, today is Ram Navami, so we have Ram Navami special devotional segment after 10 o'clock today. You're welcome to stay back, because 10 o'clock typically is when we conclude our discussions, and we have Swati ji who has signed up for it. Then we have Pallavi ji, right? You have signed up for it. Who else is there, Sandhya? We had
Rahul ji.
And Sam is there. Sam is going to sing. Okay, she's asking everybody to stay back because she's going to make her debut. And then, time permitting, I'll probably recite a couple of lines as well. Rahul is there as well.
Yes.
Great. Okay, we have at least 4 or 5 singers today. I look forward to that segment. Okay, real quick then, we have 8 minutes. We can take a question each maybe from everyone.
Yes. Urviji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, I don't have a question, but I thought of just adding one thing to what Sandhya Didi asked, the difference between love and bhakti. So it's kind of a confirmation only that can we say that bhakti is when we reach the pinnacle of love for God. So we can call that bhakti. And
yeah, basically, yeah, bhakti will lead us to reach the pinnacle of what God can. It will lead us. It's see when you do bhakti, what do you get? You get more bhakti. And what do you ask for? You ask for more bhakti. So bhakti is the means, bhakti is the end.
yes, yeah. And just one more thing, if we have to go one more step back, if we ask that how will we get bhakti, so we can say Sant ka sang, satsang, and that will lead us to bhakti. And then so we can start even beyond bhakti, that is associating with the true saint.
That would be our next step of discussion when we get into 4. Now you can look at the framework and we'll say, okay, now how do we get bhakti, right? So 4.34 we will tackle that. What are the steps that will lead you to bhakti? Because getting those seeds of bhakti, and for them to sprout and them getting nourished, that there is a process for that. It's not going to happen just like that. And that is one of the litmus test for yours, basically for a saint. When you come in association with saint, if they are able to ignite that within you, and it's like that fireball effect that you start feeling, that means yes, this is the right place. So bhakti is, God doesn't give that to everybody just like that, because this is the thing for God, right? He said, take dhyan, take moksha, become president, become famous, take power. We'll keep on testing you, right? And people, we can fall to any carrot. When you keep on rejecting, Aviral Bhakti, right? Kakushundi, today only, I think Sandhya had sent it to me. He was asked, I'm extremely pleased with you. What do you want? Now imagine a crow saying, he has a blank check from God. God is saying, what do you want to become? He could have become a Gandharva, and he could have become a king. He could have become at least He would have said, make me human and give. But he said, I realized you, I completed my God realization in this body only. Give me Aviral Bhakti, I'm happy to be a crow only. Now think of it. I mean, you'll say what kind of, but we can't imagine the kind of bliss God can give, right? But then he got a permanent boon that whenever Ram Avatar is going to happen, he can savor his Bal Leelas. So Kakbhushundi has this boon that whenever Ram Avatar in whichever Brahmand is going to happen, he's going to savor it in person. And he chooses to be a crow. I will say what kind of a life it is, but they are not ordinary, right? They are realized saints, basically. Body doesn't matter at that point. Maybe one day it will make sense. Yes, let's hear from others.
Induji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Induji.
Radhe Radhe, everybody. I just have the question in the same context, that the difference between devotion and surrender. Is the devotion a step to surrender? Or if you are devoted, you are surrendered? Because if you are fully devoted to God, you are just surrendered yourself.
Devotion, when we are a perfect devotee, yes, we are surrendered. But devotion is a means, because devotion is also not a surrendered, what do you call that, unit step function that we wake up and we say we are a devotee now. It's a work in progress. You keep on enhancing your devotion, bhav, faith, and surrender would automatically keep on increasing to God. So we like to call ourselves devotee, but if you go by the strict definition of devotee, that means you're already surrendered. But are we surrendered? We are not. So devotion is a means or a tool to perfect our surrender, where we keep on enhancing, decorating our bhav, and keep on relying on God for more and more things. And devotion is the means actually to reach that stage. But when we become a perfect devotee, we are already surrendered.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sumanta ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Nitinji, today we learned that there should not be any fear. However, we know that little fear is necessary for in life, because if we don't have any fear, because we are seeing that many people, they are doing many wrong work because they don't have any fear of what will happen the next. So how we can differentiate or we can judge how much fear is required in life? Because fear is also required, and at the same time fear is not also required. So how to differentiate?
That's a good question. So we can talk about this topic in detail. Fear, when we are talking about fear, is unnecessary cooked up fear about situation, circumstance. Fear is needed, right? Our brain has a component, I think it's called amygdala, which triggers the flight or fight response, and it is needed for our survival, right? So if a tiger comes in front of us and we show fearlessness, we know what will happen. So it is needed, but fear that we are talking about is unnecessary cooking up negative thinking. Something bad is going to happen. What if this happens? What if that happens? Oh my God, my money will, how will I survive? Or what if my desires are not met, I'll be extremely unhappy. Those kind of fears are we talking about, not the fears which are required for sustaining ourselves. That is needed, right? So yeah. So yeah, we can talk about that topic a little more because it's a nuanced discussion. But this fear is more about the anxieties that we cook up in our mind, which trouble us. When a tiger comes in front of you, then that fear is a valid, bona fide fear. Okay. But unnecessary cooking up fears is something that is what we are talking about right now. Amygdala is given to us for that purpose only. Brahmaji is smart, right? He knows that if he doesn't give us, then our flight and fight response is not triggered, then we will not take the corrective measure, and then we will get eaten up by the tiger or a lion or some kind of a danger that is lurking out there.
So Nitinji, in chat, there is message from Aparna ji. She did mention on the same lines that she has fear of future or the fear of well-being of family members.
Right. These are the fears that God is talking about, okay, which are our self-created things. And these
negative thoughts and
exactly negative thoughts, and forgetting that end of the day we are the children of God and He has a plan for everyone. We will do our best, but then God is the ultimate thing. Like He is the ultimate caretaker of all of us. So those anxieties that we start building, power of thoughts, we start actually creating circumstances for ourselves. God says you have started creating fear for no reason. Now you have created a test for yourself. So unnecessary fear is not needed, basically. That is the whole idea. So that negative thinking is something we need to systematically work, to dismantle that, because it's not helping us, not only taking us further away from, surrendering to God, but also building sanskars which are going to create more and more tests for us in future.
Falguni ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Nitinji, I have just one small question, that when we surrender our hopes and expectations, when we surrender, which means we are surrendering our hopes, our expectations, fears, and everything, right? So there will be like, so when we surrender our expectations, there will be disappointments. A lot of disappointments will come in life. Now, if we are on the path of, we are following this path of surrendering, and then we experience this disappointment, then how do I deal with this kind of a disappointment? Like, can I just say that, okay, this is a part and parcel of part and parcel of the path on which I'm walking? Is this the right attitude? Right attitude? Like, I don't understand,
Maybe
like,
the
how to.
particular situation we can discuss separately, but think about why did the disappointment come about? Because there was some attachment, right, somewhere, or an expected result, outcome that you wanted to have, a certain outcome that did not happen. So you've already violated the principle of Karam Yoga there, right? Because you're focused on the outcome, not just on the process. And because of that attachment, you wanted a particular outcome. And because that outcome was not met, now you're disappointed. And because you're disappointed, you have not exercised prasad buddhi. So it's a vicious cycle that we are part of it, right? So we have to tackle systematically what led to that. Maybe an attachment you need to work on, maybe the knowledge that we can only focus on the process, not the outcome, right? And not having an outcome oriented approach in our mind. And then when it happens, you do have an acceptance, like a prasad buddhi. When we go to a temple, do we tell the panditji, I like laddu, give me only laddu, I will not take other prasad? Similarly, when God gives us something good, when it gives, fine, but whatever it gives, we need to have a prasad buddhi. Okay, that is something I have to accept. But when we don't accept, then we get disappointed and we have forfeited an opportunity to move an inch closer to surrender in that case. So you have to think, why is it coming? Because maybe there's an attachment around it, right? And you are not able to practice that principle of focusing on the process, not so much on the outcome. So systematically you have to do a self-talk to get better at that.
Thank you.
Lata Joshi ji has similar kind of question, that my daughter is getting divorced in 40 days. Should I not fear?
So fear has also have an algorithm, right? When you fear or when you worry, the first thing is, can you do something about it? If yes, then why fear? And then the second outcome is, can you do something about it? Answer is no, then why fear? In both cases, you have to accept. See, now you are cooking up things in your head. This will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen. Oh my God, this. So that is where you need to put a full stop. Energizing that thought and taking it to the next level, which may or may not even happen. And we, all of us, are on a journey. If it is something within your control, you can try. But if things are irreparable, beyond control, then you have an acceptance around it, because you can't control beyond a point, right? People have their own destinies, prarabdhs, and their own life to deal with. We can't control anybody's life. And we have thought about so many daughters, so many sons, so many husbands, so many relatives in so many lifetimes. They have just changed roles. When you go into deep sleep, you will not even know that was your daughter. And in some other lifetime, it could be somebody else. So this drama keeps on repeating. So you have to look at it in perspective. If you have tried your best, just leave it and move on. You have to have your own peace of mind, and it's your own journey. Because God is not going to give us a lot of medals that, what, you worried about your daughter. What a great thing that you did. He's going to say, what did you do with your life? That is the only thing that will count at the end of the day. So we try our best for our people around us, but beyond a point, everybody has their own journey, right? And there's little we control.
Thank you, Nitinji. Balance.
Okay, so are we 10:05? I think we are over time. Swati ji, you had something, or it's for the singing? Maybe we can start with you now. So this is when we transition into our devotional segment. It is going to be Ram Navami special today. And Swati ji, we can start with Swati ji today. Yes, so Sandhya, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, are we not having the intro as we
Oh,
are?
intro. Do we have Dinesh ji here? I saw Himani was not there. I saw Tejasvi.
Sonali ji, Dinesh.
Sonali ji and Dinesh, if you are there, we'd love to hear from you today.
Nitin ji, I can also do my intro today. Then I need not get in the spin. Then, if you say,
Sure. If
so
Dinesh ji is
both the
there,
thing will get.
Sure, Swati ji. That'll be
I'll
fine.
not take more. My introduction will be also smaller only, within 2 minutes, and then the whatever bhajan I wanted to sing. So both the thing will get in this only.
Sure, we'll do
Yeah?
2 birds with
Okay.
1 stone, but we can check out if Dinesh ji is there. Yesterday we could not take him. Do we have Dinesh ji? Okay, Dinesh ji, please, and then Swati ji, you can follow along. And Sonali ji, please be ready and just a quick, and then we can move on. Do we have Dinesh ji?
I don't see him right now.
Sonali ji?
Hi.
Dinesh ji, I see.
Please raise your hand, Dinesh ji.
No, I by mistake maybe, I don't know.
Okay, please go ahead, Dinesh ji. If you can turn on your camera, even better. But yeah, please.
Oh, okay. I see him now.
Yes.
Yes.
By the way, I met Dinesh ji on one of our retreats. So Dinesh ji, always a pleasure to meet you and hear from you. So please go ahead.
No, I'm going to be there in the retreat. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So can I sing a bhajan? I don't know if you have.
So today introduction, this thing that we have done is where participants would love to know about you. So where are you from and how you got associated and how long you've been. So let's just a brief introduction so that everybody gets to know about you.
Okay. Well, I'm Dinesh Saab and I live in Orlando, Florida area. I am associated with the Radha Krishna Temple since 2019 family camp. And before that, I met the Swamiji about 2 years back in Tampa and the Chicago area. And with the Maharajji, I'm associated with him for last maybe 15 to 20 years, watching his lectures on the religious TV channels.
Very nice. Thank you. Dinesh, pleasure to have you on the sessions and thank you for your introduction. So, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Yeah.
Who else do we have? Yes, from yesterday.
I don't see Sonali ji. I don't see Tejasvi ji, and Himani ji also not there. So I guess that's it. And then maybe we can go ahead with Swati ji in that case.
Yes, Swati ji, please go ahead. All yours then.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Happy Ram Navami to all, first of all. Okay, I'll just first start with my introduction, then I'll end with the bhajan. So that part will be finished. Okay, Radhe Radhe. Myself, Swati Bankar. I'm from Mumbai. I'm a homeopath. I practice homeopathy in Mumbai in Goregaon. I have joined GKO last year in the January. Since then, I have been attending all the sessions. Actually, my spiritual journey started in COVID period. What happened in that period, I was reading Bhagavad Gita. I have a Hindi Bhagavad Gita and I was just reading that, but was not able to understand it. Is it audible? I'm okay?
Yes. Everything is good.
Oh, okay, I thought something. So when I was reading that Bhagavad Gita, I was not able to understand the verses meaning. Then once I heard this Swamiji's video in which he explained the verse very beautifully. And then I was like, started following him. And then I started following Maharaj's video as well. So both the thing at the simultaneously, I was like, oh, I want to make book guru. So then I went to meet Swamiji in 2021 November when he came to Mumbai. And then that only I was like, that time I was not such in the spiritual or I was not a devotee at all. I have never been in this devotion before this life. And then since I have started, met Swamiji told me that you join SMS Exclusive, you join online classes. I came back in November, but I did not still join. But in January, I don't know what happened. 15 January, I was like, I want to attend. Then I started with Bhagavad Gita. It was your classes, daily vision of Bhagavad Gita. And then I was not able to understand in the concept also, but I thought, no, I should continue. Let me see I kept on listening to your all lectures, all your classes, and then slowly all concepts started getting clear to me. And then my quest was for, like, I started attending all retreats of US, all Indian retreat online only. Then slowly my all devotion, I don't know suddenly how it came. And then it was like, oh, I want to meet Swamiji now. I want to attend retreat myself. I want to attend Bhajan Kirtan. And then slowly that all quest got, when I met Swamiji in Chivir last this February 2022. And that is my journey, like how I got in this. Thank you for this.
In a short span of
And
time.
I'm enjoying now this. I was zero in spiritual life, but you brought me here, and all the sessions, whatever I attend, that made me full devotee. Now 100% I am. And now then I have started doing seva. It is more blissful because now I want to give my more time to Swamiji, make him happy. So I want to, like, whatever seva I can do, I'm trying to do from your side, from US side, and from Indian side also. I'm doing some call seva, small sevas of whatever I'm getting. I'm happy with all that now.
Wonderful, Swatiji. In a short span of time, you started doing so many things, which is very, very nice. And always a pleasure to see your smiling face and hear from you on the session. So look forward to your bhajan now. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Jai Shri Ram. हमारे साथ श्री रघुनाथ तो किस बात की चिंता, चरण में रख दिया जब मात तो किस बात की चिंता, किया करते हो तुम दिन रात क्यों बिन बात की चिंता, तेरे स्वामी को रहती है तेरी हर बात की चिंता, हमारे साथ श्री रघुनाथ तो किस बात की चिंता, चरण में रख दिया जब मात तो किस बात की चिंता, न खाने की न पीने की न मरने की न जीने की, रहे हर श्वास में भगवान के प्रिय नाम की चिंता, हमारे साथ श्री रघुनाथ तो किस बात की चिंता, चरण में रख दिया जब मात तो किस बात की चिंता, हुई है भक्त पर कृपा बनाया दास प्रभु अपना, उन्हीं के हाथ में अब हाथ तो किस बात की चिंता, हमारे साथ श्री रघुनाथ तो किस बात की चिंता, चरण में रख दिया जब हाथ मात तो किस बात की चिंता. Thank you. Jai Siya Ram. Radhe
Yes,
Radhe.
thank you so much for beautiful Ram Bhajan, Swati ji, and wish you a very happy Ram Navami. Thank you so much. All right, who's going next?
Thank you for
Sam or Rahul? Who's going next? Okay, Rahul, you can go.
Rahul ji.
Go ahead, Rahul.
Radhe Radhe. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. तुम तो पुकारो रुके आठों याम राम राम, तुम तो पुकारो रुके आठों याम राम राम, भाजे भाजे आइए नैना फिर राम राम राम, भाजे भाजे आइए नैना फिर राम राम राम, रस नाते ध्याओ मन ते भी ध्याओ राम, रस नाते गाओ राम, मन ते भी ध्याओ राम, बेनो श्रम पाओ राम, भाव राखे निष्काम, बेनो श्रम पाओ राम, भाव राखे निष्काम, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Loved it. Very nice. You got it memorized as well. Beautiful. Thank you, Rahul, so much for taking us to another Ram Bhajan. Loved it. Sam, are you ready now? Okay, go ahead. So Sam is going to make a debut. So
Sam's, go ahead. Radhe
let's
Radhe Samji.
hold
Okay,
our breath now.
let me, yes.
What
Have
I'm
to be
feeling like,
slow
what
in
did I
your
give
bhajan.
name? I'm feeling like, what did I give name? Okay, it will be a no way match to others. Please forgive me in advance. Oh God. Me. Me. Oh God.
You have to collect
Someone
yourself.
please start. Someone please start. Mere Ram kaha hai? Bata do Billy. What is how to sing the starting?
मेरे राम कहाँ है बता दो. Go ahead.
मेरे राम कहाँ है बता दो बली. बजरंग बली बजरंग बली. मेरे राम कहाँ है बता दो भली. बजरंग बली बजरंग बली. मैं खोज रहा चलते फिरते, पर राम नहीं मुझको मिलते. भरमाया रहा यह मन नकली. बजरंग बली बजरंग बली. तुम सा बल पौरुष ज्ञान नहीं, मन की मजबूत कमान नहीं. यह देह मेरी दुबली पतली. बजरंग बली बजरंग बली. प्रभु के तुम पावन सेवक हो, मुझसे भी भला कछु भाव कहो. जिससे ही यज्ञ खिल जाए कली. बजरंग बली बजरंग बली. वह सुंदर दरस दया धन का, कब पार मान मेरे मन का. बेचैन है नैनन की पुतली. बजरंग बली बजरंग बली. मेरे राम कहाँ है बता दो भली. बजरंग बली बजरंग बली. श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम. अपना दास बना लो राम. जय सिया राम बोलो जय सिया राम. जय सिया राम बोलो जय सिया राम. ज्योत से ज्योत जगा दो राम. नैनन तपन बुझा दो राम. श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम. श्री राम जय जय राम.
Beautiful.
Very nice, Sam. You were nervous.
Sorry, forgive me.
You pulled it off. Okay. I know you pulled it off. So very nice. You should, the more you sing, the more confident you will feel. So for your debut singing, awesome job.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks for taking the initiative and you did it really well. I know you were super nervous, but you did well for your first singing. Okay. Good job,
Yeah.
Sam.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So who else? I see.
Yeah,
Pallavi.
I can go
Pallavi.
next. Yeah, thank you.
Setting the screen for your bhajan. Yeah,
Yes,
Thank
Sandhya
you.
ji, if you can share the lines and
I'll do that. Yeah.
thank you.
And then we have a couple of other hands too.
Do you see the screen? I'll just make it.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
what Prasang? Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think everyone, most of the people know about the story. I'll just quickly give a brief of the story. that this is the very beautiful, popular context in Ramayana, where Lord Rama, Sita ji and Lakshman, they all are at the bank of Ganga river. And when Lord Rama asked Kevat, the boatman, to take him across the river Ganges, the boatman says that please allow me to wash your feet, then only I can take you into the boat. And Ramji smiled and asked that why do you want to wash my feet? Then Kevatji said that your dust of your feet is magical, because when your feet touched rock, she turned into woman. What will happen to my boat if this ever turns into woman? And please allow me to wash your feet. And when then he washes the feet, and then he takes them across the river. When Ramji was giving him for the service, he was giving him his ring. Kevatji says, no, you please do not give me anything. As I helped you cross the river, you help me cross the Sansar Sagar, the ocean, the material ocean. So this is the story. So this is in Anup Jalota's bhajan. So I'll go ahead with the bhajan.
Yes, please.
भजन इस कभी कभी भगवान को भी भक्तों से काम पड़े। जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े। कभी कभी भगवान को भी भक्तों से काम पड़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े। प्रभु बोले तुम नाव चलाओ, पार हमें केवट पहुंचाओ। केवट कहता सुनो तुम्हारी चरण धूल की माया भारी, मैं गरीब नैया मेरी नारी ना होए पड़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े। केवट दौड़ के जल भर लाया, चरण धोए चरणामृत पाया। वेद ग्रंथ जिनके गुण गाए, केवट उनको नाव चढ़ाए। बरसे फूल गगन से ऐसे भक्त के भाग बढ़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े। चली नाव गंगा की धारा, सिया राम लखन को पार उतारा। प्रभु देने लगे नाव उतराई, केवट कहे नहीं रघुराई। पार किया मैंने तुमको, अब तुम है पार करे, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े। कभी कभी भगवान को भी भक्तों से काम पड़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े, जाना था गंगा पार प्रभु के वट की नाव चढ़े। थैंक यू। जय श्री राम।
Jai Shri Ram, Pallavi ji. Very nice, very melodious. You made us do Roop Dhyan so nicely. Perfect sur, tal, and the melody, bhav, everything was spot on. Loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Every time you sing, you take us to a different world altogether. Thank you so much for that. Couldn't have had any. Great. Loved it. Yes, few more hands. I think.
Yeah, I see
and
Dayasini.
Yashin, you wanted to sing as well today?
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Dayashini.
I actually today I'm going to sing, but it's not like Ram Bhagwan Ki song. So it will be Mother Sita song in a different form, that is Radha Rani. So I hope it will be all right.
Perfectly okay.
All right. जुई वृष भानु नंदिनी राधे सोई मम स्वामिनी श्री राधे जुई वृष भानु नंदिनी राधे सोई मम स्वामिनी श्री राधे जाको नित्य धाम बरसानो जाको नित्य धाम बरसानो सोई मम स्वामिनी श्री राधे जुई वृष भानु नंदिनी राधे सोई मम स्वामिनी श्री राधे जाको रस स्थल वृंदावन जाको रस स्थल वृंदावन सोई मम स्वामिनी श्री राधे जुई वृष भानु नंदिनी राधे सोई मम स्वामिनी श्री राधे जुई वृष भानु नंदिनी राधे सोई मम स्वामिनी श्री राधे. Thank you. I just prepared 3 lines only.
Wow, amazing.
Wow. I think Pallavi ji and Dayashini ji, we should import you here in Dallas, okay, somehow. Love to hear you every week. So melodious, beautiful. Loved it, Dayashini. And I think you're pretty good at singing Maharaj ji's bhajan, the pitch, tone, and amazing. So we've got some amazing singers here on our session. Guys, take us to a different world altogether. Thank you so much, Dayashini and Pallavi ji. Let's hear Abhishek. You want to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Sandhya.
Two people are muting and unmuting at the same time. Sorry. Okay. Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhaj Man Haran Bhav Bhaya Darunam Nav Kanj Lochan Kanj Mukh Kar Kanj Pad Kanjarunam Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhaj Man Haran Bhav Bhaya Darunam कंदर्प अगणित अमित छवि नवनील नीरज सुंदरम पटपीत मानहु तड़ित रुचि सुचिनोमि जनक सुतावरम श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Abhishek. That's a beautiful Aarti. We sing it every day here at our temple along with Krishna Aarti. And thank you so much for that. I think today is a really Ram Navami special we can experience. So thank you, heartfelt thank you to all of you for that. Okay. I see 3 more hands, all for singing, I believe. Okay. Pallaviji, do we have time?
Yeah, it's okay. It's
late for
it's
you,
okay.
so
We can.
I want to be respectful of your time.
Yes.
So let's do that quickly. I would
Yeah,
pick
we
up a
can have
short
some.
version, maybe a minute
Yes.
or 2 each, and then we can wrap it up because I know it's late. Yes, Rameshi, let's pick up a shorter bhajan.
Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you. Short and sweet. Very nice. Hamantra Maharaj's bhajan, beautifully sung. So I think Ashutosh, Ajit Jainji, Ajit Kumarji, tomorrow we will give you, because tomorrow is also Ram Navami, and I'll also take turn tomorrow, time permitting, of course. So thank you again for your enthusiastic participation and beautiful melodious singing. Happy Ram Navami to all of you. And Dhanviji, thank you for turning on your video. I'd like to quickly introduce yourself and then we will wrap it up, our session. I really appreciate you turning on your video throughout. I think you just started joining these sessions, I believe.
Okay.
Please go ahead. You are unmuted. Yeah.
Yeah, you are unmuted.
Yeah, you are unmuted. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
I think I am muted.
You're unmuted.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Today is my first day. Actually, I know about the Gita classes from Urvi. She is my friend.
Okay. All right. Did you enjoy the session? Okay, maybe some. Did you enjoy the session, Dhanvi?
What did you say, sir?
No worries. Pleasure to have you on the sessions. Hope to see you more
Yes,
often.
sir. Yes, sir. Very much.
Thank you for joining, and we will celebrate Ram Navami more today. Okay, tomorrow we'll talk about Ram and Krishna. And pleasure to have you on the sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So Radhe Radhe. Good night. Good
Radhe.
from my side. Happy Ram Navami to all of you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another engaging, fascinating discussion that we're going to have tomorrow. So Radhe Radhe. Good night. Good day.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Ram Navami and stay blessed. See you tomorrow.
See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you, Nitinji. Thank you, Nitinji, for an awesome session.
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone.